Hey, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's Wildcard Wednesday. Welcome to this brand new episode of the Michele Tafoya podcast. I've got lots of clips to show you today. They're fun. We want to get right to them, but please hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening. You never want to miss an episode. And Wildcard Wednesday is a little different in that sometimes, and I try to keep this in mind, we show video that really must be seen to be believed. And, you know, the audio, I try to make sure that all the audio will translate if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So believe me, I'm putting in that effort. But for right now, we're going to get right to it. And this comes out of a school district in Fairfax, Virginia. Okay, there is a club on one of the high school campuses, a student club called the Muslim Student Association. Fine, I have no problem. I don't know if they allow a Catholic student association or a Lutheran student association. I really don't know. But they do have a Muslim student association. And that group posted this video. Now, if you are listening and not watching, basically the gist is this. They're asking people, are you coming to our meeting? The MSA meeting, Muslim Student Association. Are you coming to the meeting? And if you're not, well, the consequences appear to be kidnapping and potentially murder. Let's roll it, Misty.
Are you guys going to the MSA meeting 8/8 tomorrow?
Bro, no, what is that? What is MSA, bro? No.
Are you guys coming to the MSA meeting 8/8 tomorrow?
Yes, of course.
Are you coming to the MSA meeting this Wednesday?
Heck no.
That's where the kidnap comes.
Are you coming to the MSA meeting this Wednesday? Yeah, I'm coming. October 1st, after school, Mr. Gunderson's room. Be there.
Go.
Are you coming to the MSA meeting this Wednesday?
Heck no.
Okay, so they had a blooper there too. Basically, if you say you're not coming to the meeting, they're going to put a hood over your head and throw you in the back of a car. I found it disturbing. It threatening. Now, I can't think of any kind of bullying that is more threatening than, are you coming to our meeting? And if you're not, we're throwing a hood over your head and throwing you under the trunk of a car. It's manipulative and it's just gross. And it's unbecoming of any school or any student group. Now, you could say, oh, Michele, stop clutching your pearls. They're high schoolers. It's not a... I think we should hold kids to a higher standard, period. An 8-year-old knows that's not right. Speaking of 8-year-olds and throwing little hissy fits, well, Lawrence O'Donnell of MSNBC threw one the other day. Now, again, I will say I was employed very happily by NBC Sports for 11 years. I had a wonderful time covering the Olympics and Sunday Night Football. I love my crew. I love the people I work with. But I think it's safe to say that MSNBC, which is going to be renamed MS Now, I think, it has had its share of controversies. You remember Joy Reid was let go. Well, Lawrence O'Donnell is kind of a professorial-looking white dude, and he's mad at another sort of professorial white dude who happens to work for this podcast network, Scott Jennings, who's at CNN, and is just exploded onto the scene because he's smart, he's witty, and he's not afraid to debate anyone. Oh, that makes Lawrence O'Donnell so mad. Roll it, Misty.
And now CNN eagerly pays a Trump supporter to lie on CNN every day and night for Donald Trump. CNN did this during the first Trump presidential campaign and presidency. CNN regularly paid Trump supporters to lie about Trump on CNN, but the CNN regime then realized that was a mistake. And they stopped doing it. They stopped paying for lies. But then CNN got a new head. The head of CNN for the last 3 years, hired by the Trump-supporting owner and operator of CNN, is an Englishman who thinks paying Scott Jennings to lie about Donald Trump is money very well spent. It's Scott Jennings, who used to be an aide to Senator Mitch McConnell, was not always a rabid, lying Trump supporter. When he first started appearing on television, he was capable of criticizing some of the more extreme Trump positions. But Scott Jennings figured out where the money is and how he could get his own podcast and decided to become the J.D. Vance of CNN. Here's how bad that television is that they make over there. The show that Scott Jennings frequents the most is on opposite this program. And that show, on a good night, gets half of the audience of this show. This program usually has an audience triple the size of the terrible, terrible television that Scott Jennings is delivering on the absurdly degraded version of CNN, presided over by the man who thinks lying for Donald Trump on TV is an honorable pursuit and should be paid for by CNN.
Oh my gosh, where to begin? CNN is allowed to pay whomever they want. I happen to like Scott Jennings very much as a human being. I've appeared on his radio show. As I said, he's part of the Salem Podcast Network, part of Salem Media in general. And yes, works for CNN. He gets paid to lie. I mean, I don't know who watches Lawrence O'Donnell, but I couldn't. I'm actually surprised at those ratings numbers. I can't necessarily believe they're true. I haven't verified them because I know you can manipulate those numbers as well. But he's very, very upset about one person at a network whom he says, or who he claims is being paid to lie about Donald Trump, because that's where the money is. Apparently, though, Lawrence, I mean, if you are doubling and tripling their ratings, you should be making more money than all of them. So stop complaining. What are you afraid of? What are you so angry about? It goes to demonstrate that rather than make a point of your own or play a clip and of Scott Jennings and then retort or debate it, the actual point, he's just going to call him a liar. That CNN pays to lie. If they're paying one guy to lie, are they paying the entire cast of that show to lie or all of CNN to lie? I mean, if that's where the money is, why wouldn't they just pay a bunch of people to lie? Why just Scott Jennings? So it's silly and a little embarrassing. Not as embarrassing as this. Imagine being a trucker. And yeah, you drive these long routes cross country and then you just need to pull over and rest. Well, here's the thing. There are rest stops for that on all major interstates. But this guy stopped somewhere else. And furthermore, he didn't have any pants on. And furthermore, he couldn't communicate with the Arkansas State, I don't know if it was a highway patrol or state police, that knocked on his window. Get a load of this, folks.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm good.
Why are you parked here?
Yeah, I parked 3 hours.
Why did you park here? You understand English?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Why did you park here?
Yeah.
No good. I'm Officer Eddings, Arkansas Highway Police. I need your driver's license, registration, and insurance for this truck. Is there anybody else in the truck?
What?
Is there anybody else in the truck?
My company.
Your company. Okay, you don't understand English.
Yeah.
Where's your logbook at?
Yeah, sir.
Put you some clothes on. Pants. Put your pants on.
Pants on? What?
Put your pants on. Pants. Put some pants on.
Well, that was only the beginning of the trouble. Okay, the fact that the guy was, well, he needed to put his pants on. He also didn't have a shirt on if you're not able to see the video. This video ran 7-8 minutes long. It's kind of entertaining, but more than anything else, it's maddening. Given the two recent, I mean, just within the last several months, we've had two truck drivers, like 18-wheeler truck drivers who have not been able to read the road signs, not been able to speak the language. One didn't have a name on his driver's license, no name given. And the California DMV or whatever organization out there gives these commercial driver's licenses, I can only assume it's the DMV, gave them these licenses. And in each case, those two truckers I just talked about, not this guy with the pants, without the pants, they had accidents that led to multiple fatalities. Multiple fatalities in an instant. So you can laugh at this and say, what was the guy doing with no pants on? That's fine. The video goes on to show that he couldn't recognize street signs or tell the officer what they meant. And he went through a thorough exam on a laptop. What does this sign mean? What does this sign mean? The guy could not speak the language, couldn't communicate with the officer, and couldn't tell you what the street signs meant. That's dangerous. This is dangerous, not in the way that people say, oh, free speech, it's dangerous. This is dangerous. If you're pulling over where you shouldn't be for 3 hours, if you can't read the street signs, you can't obey them or follow them. And we're putting people out there with these semis that could get in these accidents and result in these terrible results. I can't wait to see where this all started, where it originated. But the video, sadly, is worth a look, because if nothing else, it just wakes you up to the fact that how much is this out there that we didn't know before? What we have known is shoplifting is real. Ask Winona Ryder. I think she's kind of recovered. She's landed on her feet. I don't wish her any harm, but it is interesting why a very wealthy actress would shoplift. But this woman not only shoplifted, but she bragged about it on camera. And I'm asking myself, why would you do that and post it on social media? Why would you? And by the way, she didn't shoplift baby diapers or formula or milk or eggs. Check out what she shoplifted. Roll it.
Hi, you guys. I'm out of the store. So they wanted $7 for this. Mind you, I don't have food stamps anymore. They cut me off. So I only had $22 left in food stamps. So this is what I stole. Okay. They wanted $9 for this.
That's seasoning.
I said, I don't got $9. Then they wanted $2 for this.
Tic Tacs.
They wanted, sorry, it's all up because it's been in my purse. $7 for this. I'm making some stuffed salmon today. These are needed. I'm not paying $7 for that.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like high-end cheese.
Let me
spread.
show you the most important thing to me. Short ribs. Take off the label so that you don't beep. Get your meat. How many do you think that I got? How many short ribs is that? And can I be real? More y'all should have started taking from the corporations a long time ago. Y'all just didn't have that in your bones. Get out there and get in the field like I told you. Everything out here is yours. Whether or not you take it, they call that free will. I call that eminent domain. You know what I'm saying? One thing I learned from the white men, take it! Hey, now! Take it! I don't give a who's already sitting there. I don't give a if your land was already established. It's mine now, and I want it. That is what we should be preaching in the land to the masses. Act more like a white man. Take it for yourself, and you won't be worried about who don't got it. You see what I'm saying? Get out there and ravish. Last but not least, go in that church and infiltrate. Don't be stupid. Get in there. Ask them for some rent money. Ask them for some help. You've been tithing. Say your lights is off. You need a stipend. You need some food. Go to the church. Ask for help. If the pastor don't help you out, blast them on social media. Quickest way to up the church's money is ask for some. Go do it. See what you get. Report back to a real let me know. If the church doesn't help you after all those tithes you gave, well, go ask for your tithes back. See if they can give you a donation form and they can just redonate your money back to you. See if they can do that. If they can't, I want you to come back under this post and give me the reason why they said they cannot reimburse you back the money you and your family have given to them for years. Also, why they can't help you. Let me know.
Okay. That's the first time I saw the post all the way through. That was something, Misty, and that was depressing. Really depressing. So she tends to believe that all the white men do things a certain way. I'm not going to throw that back at her and say that anyone does everything a certain way, but that is disgusting. She's going in taking short ribs and spices and high-end cheese because she's going to do her stuffed salmon because it belongs to her. It belongs to her, she says. And then she says you can threaten your church and rat them out on social media. I mean, that's just despicable. And it's one person, but it's I wonder what her following is. I'm going to have to go look at that. I have to see what her following is. The thing about that film is that somebody else posted it on X is where he found it. And so I don't know if we know her specific account. Holy moly. You know what? For anyone that says that, the divisiveness is coming from one side, there you see. No, it's not. It's coming from all kinds of directions. And one of them is right here in the state that I live in, Minnesota, and our very fabulous governor, Tim Walz. And Tim Walz is also really mad at the government. And so he's going to try to capitalize on this because he's campaigning for governor right now. He's running again for a third term, and he thinks he can buy publicity like this, and we're going to show it to you. We'll show it to you, and then we'll talk.
I know Democrats are ready to go. I know they're ready to come back and do this. They're ready to come back and protect things that had passed the legislature. They are not willing to come back and let an authoritarian president do whatever he wants.
All I can think of is how dumb a statement is that. We continue on with authoritarian and fascist and all the name calling. But here's the deal. You need 60 votes in the Senate to get something to pass. So you can talk about Democrats being ready and willing to go back. I think they've had, at the time I'm recording this, 13 or 14 votes to try to pass this clean CR to reopen the government and then negotiate about the other stuff. But Democrats are hanging on to their leverage, their word, not mine, leverage, which they say is really uncomfortable, but we got to use it. It's going to hurt, but we got to use it because we want the Affordable Care Act tax deductions to extend. You were the one that put those tax deductions in place under Biden, and you gave them a sunset, and they have sunsetted. So, and by the way, have you noticed that the Affordable Care Act didn't make healthcare any more affordable? The prices keep skyrocketing. You know why that is? It's a lot like college tuition. The more the government says, we'll pay the loans or we'll help support the colleges and universities. We'll inject some funds in there. Oh, geez, that's free money for these schools so they can jack up the tuition prices. Oh, don't worry. You'll get some government loans and you don't have to worry about all of it, but that way they can jack up the prices. So the student who might pay $10,000 tuition is now going to pay $20,000, but don't worry about it because the government's got half of that. So you're still only paying $10,000, but we're making $20,000. Does that make sense? I can't help but think that's what's going on with Obamacare, which was supposed to solve all the problems. It was supposed to make healthcare affordable. Doesn't seem to be working out. Also, doesn't seem to be working out that open borders in sanctuary states and cities, and Minnesota is a sanctuary state like California, like many others, it isn't working. And part of the problem, again, with the reason that prices go up in emergency rooms and hospitals and healthcare is because you have so many undocumented people here that go in and get treated, because you can't turn them away at an emergency room. How do you pay for that if there's no insurance or no private payments coming from these people? They are overloading the system. The prices are getting jacked up. Here's House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. We had him on the show a week or so ago talking about immigration in Minnesota.
You represent a district on the western edge of Minneapolis, as I recall. There have been numerous arrests. Kristi Noem was there on Friday. This is the readout. Since January, federal law enforcement officers with Homeland Security say 4,300 have been arrested for criminal activity, of which 3,300 had a previous criminal history. What is the status for what ICE and Homeland Security is doing in your home state?
Well, first off, God bless Donald J. Trump and Kristi Noem for what they're doing. You just referenced the number, 4,300 illegal aliens since just January, Bill. And what you didn't add was these are murderers, these are human traffickers, and these are people who have committed sexual assault. And it's all because of the failed leadership of Tim Walz and Keith Ellison and all these others that literally had no problem with open borders and made Minnesota a sanctuary state. They have literally invited this in. And it's deep, Bill. You not only have the 4,300 illegals, but the FBI has recently uncovered some very serious immigration fraud. I think they're up to 250 cases and just, falsifying records, etc. Minnesota has become a haven for this type of illegal activity. And God bless our ICE agents and our president and Kristi Noem for going after it.
Okay, Tom.
All right. Crime is up in Minnesota. Schools, education scores are down. Tim Walz has been a disaster, an absolute freaking disaster. And so is Keith Ellison, our attorney general in the state of Minnesota. And yes, it is a sanctuary state. And yes, a lot is being uncovered. And, I found it interesting for those of you who couldn't see the pictures. At a lot of these ICE protests, you have flags representing the LGBTQ. Like, why does that flag need to be present at an ICE protest? You also have Palestinian flags. I'm sorry, but you know what? The United States of America is about to turn 250 years old. We have a culture here that has grown and developed thanks to the input of all kinds of people who have come to this country from Ireland, from Japan, from Mexico, from wherever, Peru, from wherever. It used to be a melting pot. But we stopped melting. We started carving out chunks of people and allowing them to say, I'm here, but I don't want to assimilate. I don't want to do the legal stuff. I don't want to come here and be here legally. I'm going to try to game the system. And by the way, you have to, if I have a Muslim child in school, you can no longer celebrate Halloween because my child doesn't believe in it and it offends us. A child. You can't, no more Christmas carols at the concerts at school. No, because we have other kids who are not Christian who don't believe in Christmas. So everything that this country was founded on has to be erased in order to accommodate the people coming in who want their culture to be observed and honored and, just handled with kid gloves, but we can't have ours anymore. We can't have our culture anymore. That's a lot of what's happening that I think people are really tired of. Having to walk on eggshells about everybody else's culture who's come here. You think they're coming for the American dream and to assimilate, and yet they're really trying to just impose their culture in their neighborhoods and their areas. And, it's one thing to have a Chinatown in New York City and San Francisco, to have Little Italy, where they celebrate their culture, but they do it lawfully and they do it without telling you can't celebrate yours. Just a rant. Zohran Mamdani, I hear his lead in New York has been cut in half. one can only pray. I want to show you a post that has been put up. Let's go ahead and put that up there on freeing Elias Rodriguez. Now, if the name sounds familiar, it's probably because you remember it wasn't that long ago. This dude murdered Yaron Lashinsky, who's 30 years old, and Sarah Milgram, 26 years old. They were leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. You remember this? And they were just gunned down innocently. Now, Zohran Mamdani's Democrat Socialists of America signed on to a statement calling to release this murderer, this alleged murderer. The DSA Liberation Caucus, that's Democrat Socialists of America. That's what Mamdani, that's his group. Excellent statement that we are proud to add our name to. Free Elias Rodriguez and all political prisoners. A political prisoner is someone who is jailed for their beliefs and going up against someone else's political beliefs, namely the party in power. This guy is not a political prisoner. This guy took out a gun and murdered 2 Jewish people. So here's the post. The Palestinian struggle is the tip of the spear against global imperialism. As imperialism has made the entire world its battlefield, it is justified to fight it by any means necessary, without regard for geography. This holds especially true for those of us struggling behind enemy lines inside the U.S., an entity that is an equal party in all crimes committed by the Zionists, whether in the besieged Gaza Strip, the Red Sea, the south of Lebanon, or the heart of the U.S., there must be consequences for genocidal Zionist imperialism, and those consequences are righteous. DSA posted, excellent statement that we are proud to add our name to. Free Elias Rodriguez and all political prisoners. This is what I was just talking about. So their view of Elias Rodriguez, who murdered 2 young Jews who were just leaving an event, is that that this dude's a political prisoner. That does not comport with Western civilization, folks. It does not. But that's Zohran Mamdani's group. That's what you're going to get, New York. You're also, you really never know what you're going to get from Zohran. It depends on whom he is addressing. So he's like one of these typical politicians who changes his voice and his affectations depending on whom he is addressing. Let's roll it, Misty.
This is Zohran Mamdani. He's running for mayor of New York. Here's what he normally sounds like.
We gather tonight in the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country, in the history of the world.
But in an interview in South Africa, he sounded a little different.
I actually created a playlist for Mira, who also happens to be my mother. Nepotism and hard work goes a long way.
And in an interview with the Turkish-American podcast, Mamdani sounded different again.
I'll be honest with you, Brother Mansoum, is that at this point, not many people are thinking about it.
And here is Zohran during his rapper days.
You know, it would have been here earlier, but a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour.
There you go. As authentic as they come. Just like when Gavin Newsom went on that NBA podcast and talked about how he had to hustle all his life to make a living before he opened a winery at 24 years of age. Okay, then finally from Zohran Mamdani, this is anti-Semitic, period, the end, exclamation point, no notes. Let's roll it.
For anyone to care about these issues, we have to make them hyperlocal. We have to make clear that when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF.
When the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it was laced by the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. I'll just leave it there. Good luck to you, New York. You think this guy's smiley, shiny, happy people going to bring your prices down? This is someone with a lot of other goals. All right, in celebration of Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, yes, they're dating and it's been revealed. We just thought we'd finish with something lighthearted and fun. I hope you can see this. If you can't, you got to come back later and watch on YouTube, where you should subscribe always. Here is a woman who posted, she took out the actual original music and added her own sound effects and her own singing. Roll it, Misty.
I'm gonna love you till the end and then beat it. I feel it, believe it. I'm gonna love you for life, for life.
Okay, again, can't encourage you enough to go back and watch it on YouTube if you weren't able to see that. Because the sound effects are brilliant. All right, folks. I don't know. I'm just, after going through all that with you, all I can say is be brave, do good, and we will see you next time. You can keep up with the Trump administration when you subscribe to the Trump Report. It's an email that brings you daily highlights from the Oval Office right to your inbox 5 days a week. Subscribe today at SalemPodcastNetwork.com/Trump.